A lot of people have been asking, why get the JBL Xtreme2 when for not that much more, you could just get the JBL Boombox? And to that, I say it's kind of like choosing between the iPhone 8 or the iPhone 8 Plus, Galaxy S9 or the Galaxy S9 Plus. Sure, there are some improvements when going with the Plus model, but when it comes to preference or needs, form factor can play a big role when choosing between these two speakers. Here are the main differences between the JBL Xtreme2 and JBL Boombox, and let's see which one's right for you. Just so we're clear, this isn't a full review on either of these speakers. I'm just trying to point out the most important differences between them so I can help you with your purchase decision. If you want to learn more about either of these speakers, then watch their full reviews. The JBL Xtreme2 is the newest of the two speakers here and currently retails for $300. The JBL Boombox was released in the fall of 2017 and retails for $450, but it routinely goes on sale for about $380. If you want to pick either of these speakers up, I'll have links in the description below, and if you use the links, it really helps out the channel. I suggest you check them out because you never know when these speakers might go on sale, so you might get lucky. Design-wise, the Boombox is just a plus-size Xtreme2. They share the same basic shape, they both have fabric mesh-covered bodies, they both have control buttons up top, they both have USB out ports so you can charge your own devices, they both charge via an AC port, and they are both IPX7 rated. So they're both waterproof and they both float. But obviously, since the Boombox is bigger than the Xtreme2, it's also heavier. The Xtreme2 weighs in at 5.3 pounds, whereas the Boombox weighs in at 11.6 pounds. Even though the Boombox is marketed as being this ultra portable and rugged plus size speaker, every time I've taken the Boombox with me somewhere like the park or a friend's house, I've always thought this is a bigger hassle than it needs to be. The built-in carrying handle on the Boombox is nice, but due to its weight and size, you're just going to be switching the Boombox from one hand to the other. And this can get very annoying if you have a long walk ahead of you or if you have other stuff to bring along like a cooler, chairs, or a tent. If you put a Boombox or an Xtreme2 in front of me and say pick one to take to the park, I'm always going to go with the Xtreme2 because of its lower weight and carrying strap. And believe me, do not underestimate how handy the carrying strap is. You can just swing the Xtreme2 over your shoulder and get going. And like I've said in the past, I feel the Boombox should have had a removable carrying strap as well. And plus, the carrying strap on the Xtreme2 also has the added bonus of a built-in bottle opener. Now, I'm not saying you can't take the Boombox with you anywhere, but if I have the option, I'm going to go with the Xtreme2 every time. But the Boombox's bigger size means you literally get a battery that's double the size of what's inside the Xtreme2. The JBL Boombox is rocking a 20,000 mAh battery, whereas the JBL Xtreme2 is packing a 10,000 mAh battery. And like I mentioned earlier, they both charge via AC ports, but the Xtreme2's power brick is slightly smaller than the Boombox's. Both of these speakers have multi-day battery lives depending on how you use them. JBL advertises a 24-hour battery life on the Boombox and a 15-hour battery life on the Xtreme2. And in my testing with the volume set at 50%, the Boombox averaged 22 hours of playback time while set to indoors mode, and the Xtreme2 averaged 16.5 hours of playback time. And with the volume set at 80%, the Boombox averaged 14 hours of playback time, and the Xtreme2 averaged 10 hours of playback time. It's not bad for either one. Now let's talk about speaker setups because they aren't that different, they're just bigger. The Xtreme2 has dual 70mm diameter woofers, dual 20mm diameter tweeters, and dual 85mm diameter passive radiators on each side. The Boombox, on the other hand, has larger 101mm diameter woofers, the same 20mm diameter tweeters, and larger 130mm diameter passive radiators on each side. Now, before we get into the sound test, just know that the Boombox is going to be switching between indoor and outdoor mode.
I'm barely breathing, I'm barely awake. You left me in pieces, there's no more to break. Don't wake me up, not in this century. Don't wake me up, 'cause you're just a ghost inside my head. You're just a ghost, you're never there. You're just a memory on my lips. 'Cause you're just a ghost inside my head. Ooh.
2 and Boombox share the same sound signature, when the Boombox is set to indoors mode. They both have a flat sound signature with just the right amount of bass and treble, which should keep most people happy. They both don't suffer from any distortion, and they both sound pretty clear, which is good. But due to the Boombox's sheer size, it has much more thunderous bass, because its passive radiators are able to push around much more air. And as a result, you can sometimes feel the bass in your chest, which is something the smaller Xtreme 2 just can't do. When it comes to max volume, both of these speakers get pretty loud, but again, obviously due to the Boombox's size, it also manages to get louder than the Xtreme 2. The Boombox is rated as a 60-watt speaker while plugged in, and 40 watts while used with just its battery, whereas the Xtreme 2 is rated as 40 watts when plugged in, and 20 watts when used with just its battery. And even though the Boombox can already easily get louder than the Xtreme 2 at max volume, it can still get a little louder if you switch it into outdoors mode. And what outdoors mode does on the Boombox is that it lowers the bass and puts an emphasis on the mids and treble, so the Boombox sounds louder and so that the sound travels a little further. And again, this is ideal for when you're outdoors. And like I said in the full review, I would have liked if JBL included an outdoors mode button on the Xtreme 2 as well. But no matter which of these two speakers you pick, they both have JBL Connect Plus. And like I've said in the past, JBL Connect Plus is the easiest and best way to pair multiple speakers together. You literally just press one button on each speaker and the speakers will figure out the rest by themselves. You don't have to mess around with any Bluetooth settings and you don't have to mess around with any other apps. It just works. Like all these speakers here right now, they're ready to rock and roll. And I feel that having multiple small speakers paired together at the park, at the beach, or at a get-together with friends is more useful than having one big speaker like the JBL Boombox playing in the corner. If you have an Xtreme 2 paired up to a few other smaller speakers, then you'll be able to cover a larger area with your music without having to blast the volume. With all that being said, I feel that the JBL Boombox is a great speaker if you plan on keeping it at home most of the time and only plan on occasionally taking it somewhere with you. Don't get me wrong, it's portable, but it can be a pain in the neck sometimes. Literally. But if you plan on taking either of these speakers with you on the go on a regular basis, I feel you are much better off with the JBL Xtreme 2 because of its smaller size and the convenience of the carrying strap. And you also have to take the Boombox's size into consideration. If you're like me, I just don't have room for it in my room, and that's why the Boombox lives in the studio. Again, it all comes down to form factor and what your needs are. But no matter which of these speakers you pick, I feel that pairing either one up with a Pulse 3 is a great combo. You get great sound paired with a very good looking light feature. If you made it this far, I guess you enjoyed the video, so hit that like button and get subscribed. It helps out more than you realize. Support the channel by clicking on the links down below, and I'll catch you next time.